Star Wars collectors, and welcome to another Bossk Bounty video. And in this video we're going to be taking a look at the Star Wars The Vintage Collection Finn from The Force Awakens. So let's get on with it. Let's take a look at the card back first of all. I think I mentioned in my overview video that I don't think this card back's been done that well in my opinion. There's something not quite right about this side of Finn. Looks to be like a big shadow line or something. He looks superimposed, if that makes sense. He's on the Force Awakens card. This is the first time that we've had a sequel trilogy figure. Ever since maybe the, I'm trying to think now, probably the Rise of Skywalker wave, possibly. Let me know in the comments. I don't think we've had a figure since then. But we've now got Finn. But of course, this figure is not new. He is a repack from the 3.75 inch Black Series with a new photoreal head. So not a new head, but new photoreal deco. You can see there on the card back, it's got Finn Starkiller Base. The image of him there is exactly what you're getting in the package. He's wearing Finn's jacket. He is VC308 in the line. There it is once again. And the write-up says, committed to the cause of the resistance, Finn fights alongside his closest friends to defeat the First Order, the evil regime he once served as a stormtrooper. Yeah. I kind of think it would have been better to get Finn as that stormtrooper. What was it? FN 2187, I think it was, something like that. I think I would have preferred that, to be honest. But hey, because I already have this figure. And here he is. This is the 3.75 inch Black Series one. We're going to compare them in a second. But yeah. There's the card back. The green's quite good. Goes well with the figure and everything. Force Awakens logo. 308. Let's open him up and check him out. Alright, so here is Finn out of the packaging, and even though they are exactly the same figure, there are some noticeable differences in terms of the colours that they've used on the plastics and some of the paint apps. Some are better, some are worse. I will go through those just in a second, but I just thought I'd put them side by side so you can just check them out. So the first thing that you might notice is that the jackets of each figure is slightly different in colour. This one's more brown. But what I would say is that on the original 3.75 inch Black Series, the arms are slightly different colour to the actual jacket. The jacket is more of a, I don't know, like a beigey brown, like a hint of yellow in there maybe. And the arms are more of like your sort of khaki brown. Just like this figure, this jacket is the same colour all over. You can see that the paint apps are pretty similar. The original 3.75 inch Black Series one has more silver paint on the jacket there and there. Not as prominent on this figure, but the rest of it looks pretty much exactly the same to me. As I said, the browns though are completely different. The rest of the figure is pretty much the same until you get down to the feet. You will see that the new version has slightly lighter feet, whereas this one is more of a deep grey, and obviously the paint apps are very slightly different for the sort of mud effect around, you know, the bottom of his trousers there. Let's just turn the figures around, see if there's any difference on the back. So there, you can really see the difference in colour of the jackets now, and you can really see how this one, I don't know whether it's discoloured or what, but it's obviously a different plastic for the torso and the arms, and on this one it's the same colour all the way through. So the new one has definitely improved from that point of view. You can also see at the bottom of the legs there that the new one has more paint applications for that sort of dirt effect on the back of the trousers. Finn's blaster is ever so slightly different in terms of the paint apps. Obviously the sculpt is exactly the same, but the newer version has more blue just on there and on the end, and more of like a bronzy effect up here. You can just see the difference there. This one's more silver. It does have that bronze effect on the original, but it's just not as prominent. And the blue, you do have it on the muzzle there on the original, but not on that piece there. And if you did, it's very, very faint. This one's a lot more prominent, as I said. So I would suggest that that is an improvement as well on the accessory. Okay then, so here is the head sculpt, the new one on the right hand side with the new photo reel. You can see that the skin tone of the two figures is ever so slightly different from one another, and also the one on the left hand side has sort of more white paint for the eyes. I think it doesn't look as realistic as the one on the right. I don't think either are that perfect, to be honest. I mean, it kind of looks like John Boyega, it kind of looks like Finn. I've always thought that it looks good enough in my opinion, and you know, the new photo reel definitely looks more real and less cartoonish, if that makes sense. And the skin tone is different on the hands as well. You can really see. But what lets this figure down really is the articulation, in my opinion, and you'll see why in a second. The knees are really, really terrible. But let's get into that right now. So the head is on a ball joint there. So when that's on there, you get very limited range of motion. No double barbell, basically. So that, in my opinion, is pretty poor. You do have the ball hinge shoulders. You do have the hinge at the elbow. Unfortunately, the elbow doesn't really go past 90. It's fixed at 90 pretty much. Hinge on the wrists, which is good. Now you do have the torso split, nothing at the waist. You have the old style hinged hips, which do move around quite nicely. They are pretty loose, which is good, but you do not have a cut at the top of the thigh. But the knee joints on this guy, I mean, you go that is how far it goes back. And that is terrible for me. You can't even get the leg back 90 degrees, so you wouldn't be able to get him to kneel down or anything like that. That is pretty poor in my opinion. And also you only have the hinge and swivel at the ankle. No rocker ankles for this figure. As I said, this is a 3.75 inch Black Series. You know, at the time that this figure came out, they had already done figures with rocker ankles, so it is a bit of a shame that they didn't go the whole hog for a brand new figure from, you know, a newly released film, especially one of the main characters. So all in all, really, the figure is pretty poor, but, you know, it's Finn in the vintage collection. We finally got one of the last remaining main characters from The Force Awakens into the line. But yeah, that's about it for this review. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I want to thank you for watching. Thanks to my Patreon supporters and channel members as well. Your support means a great deal to me, so thank you so much. Thanks everybody, and we shall see you on the next one.